Sir, you've been selected for random additional screening. Ryan Cooper had heard those words 37 times in the past year, 37 flights, 37 random screenings. He looked at the TSA agent, a young woman with a tired expression, and smiled politely. Of course. Where should I go? It was 5:47 a.m. at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. Ryan was traveling to Seattle for work, the same trip he made twice a month as a software developer for a cloud computing company. Same route, same airline, same early morning flight. Different TSA agents, same random screening. Have you ever been punished for something you can't see, but everyone else notices immediately? Ryan Cooper was 33, a white guy from Dallas with a Texas accent you could cut with a knife. He looked like he belonged at a country music concert, not on a terrorism watch list. Sandy brown hair, blue eyes, the kind of face that usually meant waving through security, not additional screening. Except for one thing, the beard. And the kufi, the traditional Islamic cap he wore since converting to Islam 5 years ago. Ryan had grown up Southern Baptist in a small town outside Dallas. Football, church on Sundays, sweet tea and brisket, as American as it gets. Then he met Aisha at a tech conference in San Francisco. She was a software engineer, brilliant and kind, also Muslim. They talked about code, then life, then faith. 2 years later, they were married, and Ryan had found something in Islam that he'd been searching for his whole life: structure, purpose, peace. Converting was easy. Living as a visible Muslim man in post-9/11 America, that was the hard part, especially at airports. This way, sir. The TSA agent gestured to a separate screening area. Ryan followed, pulling out his phone as he walked. He opened his notes app, added a new entry. Flight number 38, DFW to SEA, 5:47 a.m., random screening number 38, agent F-20s, professional. He'd been documenting every screening for 6 months. Date, time, airport, agent description, reason given. Every single one. Arms out, please? The agent picked up a detection wand. Ryan complied. The wand beeped over his belt buckle, standard. The agent patted down his arms, back, legs. Standard procedure. Nothing unusual ever found. Thank you, sir. You're clear to go. Thanks, Ryan said, his Texas accent thick and genuine. Y'all have a good day now. The agent looked confused for a split second. That accent didn't match the beard and kufi she'd been trained to see as threatening, but she recovered quickly. You too, sir. Ryan walked to his gate, pulling out his phone again. He opened the voice recording app and started documenting. Flight 38 screening, 5 minutes, standard pat down, nothing found as usual. Agent seems surprised by my accent. Always happens. They expect Middle Eastern, get Texan instead. Cognitive dissonance is real. He'd been recording these voice memos too. Little observations, patterns, the psychology of profiling. Because Ryan wasn't just frustrated. He was building a case. You won't believe what he did with all that documentation. 7 weeks later, Flight 45, Houston to Chicago. Ryan's phone was ready before he even got to security. Sir, random additional screening. Ryan nodded. 38 seconds from entering security to being pulled aside. He'd timed it. But this time was different. This time, the TSA agent, male, 40s, clearly having a bad day, was rough. Unnecessarily rough. Arms up, legs apart. The pat-down was aggressive. Other passengers stared. A woman whispered to her husband. A teenager pulled out his phone. Ryan stayed calm. He'd learned that getting angry only made it worse. Sir, I'm going to need to check your bag. Of course. Ryan handed over his carry-on. It contained a laptop, a charger, a book, and a change of clothes. The same things it always contained. The agent unpacked everything, slowly, deliberately, making a show of it. Other passengers in line were getting impatient. "Come on, man," someone muttered. The agent found nothing. Of course he found nothing. There was never anything to find. "You're clear." No apology, no acknowledgement of the delay. Ryan repacked his bag, his hands shaking slightly, not from fear, but from suppressed anger. As he walked to his gate, he opened his documentation. Flight number 45, random screening number 45. 45 flights, 45 screenings, 100% hit rate. This isn't random. This is profiling. That night, sitting in his Chicago hotel room, Ryan made a decision. He was done staying quiet. Ryan spent the next 2 weeks editing. He was a software developer, but he'd picked up video editing as a hobby. Now that hobby had a purpose. He compiled footage from his phone, 45 security screenings. He'd filmed some openly, some discreetly, all legal. Airports are public spaces. The video started simple. Black screen, white text. "I'm Ryan Cooper. I'm a software developer from Dallas, Texas. I'm white. I have a Texas accent. I'm also Muslim. Here's what happens every time I fly." Cut to security footage montage. Airport after airport, agent after agent. Random screening after random screening. DFW, IAH, ORD, LAX, SEA, ATL, BOS. Different airports, different agents, same outcome. Ryan's voice narrated. 45 flights in 1 year. 45 random screenings. According to TSA, passengers have a 1 to 3% chance of random additional screening. 45 out of 45 is not 3%. It's 100%. That's not random, that's profiling. The video showed Ryan's documentation, timestamps, dates, airports, a spreadsheet tracking every single screening. "I'm not Middle Eastern. I don't have an Arabic name. I'm a white guy from Texas who happens to be Muslim. And I get pulled aside every single time I fly, not because I'm dangerous, because I'm visible." Cut to close-up of his kufi. This is a kufi. It's an Islamic cap. I wear it because I'm Muslim. I converted 5 years ago. I'm proud of my faith. But apparently, being a visible Muslim, even a white one, means you get randomly selected every single flight. The video showed different TSA agents, some professional, some rough, some apologetic, some annoyed. These agents are doing their jobs. I don't blame them individually. I blame the system that trains them to see this, he gestured to his kufi, as a threat. Final screen, Ryan's face speaking directly to camera. "I'm sharing this because I'm tired. Tired of being treated like a terrorist for practicing my faith. Tired of missing flights because of random screenings that aren't random. Tired of watching other Muslims go through worse. I'm a white guy with American privilege, and I still get profiled. Imagine what brown and black Muslims face. This needs to change. TSA needs to change. And until they do, I'll keep documenting, keep flying, keep being visibly Muslim. Because I have every right to practice my faith without being treated like a criminal." Final text. 45 flights, 45 random screenings, 0 threats found. Stop profiling Muslims. Hashtag flying while Muslim. Hashtag TSA reform. Hashtag religious profiling. Ryan uploaded the video to YouTube at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. By Wednesday morning, it had 47,000 views. By Wednesday afternoon, 340,000 views. By Thursday, 2.1 million views and trending on Twitter. But the truly shocking part was still coming. Ryan's video hit a nerve. Not just in Muslim communities, everywhere. White Americans were shocked. Wait, they profile white Muslims too? Muslim Americans were validated. Finally, someone with white privilege calling this out. Civil rights organizations were energized. Documented proof of systematic profiling. The media coverage was immediate and massive. CNN, white Muslim software developer documents 45 straight TSA random screenings. Washington Post, viral video exposes TSA profiling. 100% random screening rate raises questions. NPR, flying while Muslim, one man's documentation of religious profiling. Fox News, surprisingly, Texas man's TSA experience sparks debate on security versus rights. Within 48 hours, Ryan received interview requests from every major outlet. His phone wouldn't stop buzzing, his email inbox was flooded. But the most important email came from an unexpected source. Mr. Cooper, I'm Senator Maria Rodriguez, Chair of the Senate Committee on Homeland Security. Your video has raised serious concerns about TSA screening practices. Would you be willing to testify before Congress about your experiences? A Senate hearing, about his video, about systematic profiling. Ryan called Aisha. Babe, I think I just accidentally started something big. Good, she replied. It's about time someone did. But with visibility came hate. Ryan's social media filled with vicious comments. You converted to a terrorist religion, what do you expect? Stop whining and shave the beard if you don't like it. Profiling works, they should screen more Muslims. You're a traitor to your country and your race. The traitor to your race comments were especially disturbing. Apparently, being a white Muslim was seen as betrayal by some white Americans. Someone found Ryan's work email and sent threatening messages. His company's HR had to get involved. A right-wing blog published his home address. Aisha was terrified. Maybe we should take the video down, she suggested one evening. Ryan considered it. The hate was real, the threats felt real, but so did the messages from the other side. Thank you for using your privilege to expose this. As a brown Muslim, I face worse. My son is 16 and gets pulled aside every time he flies. Thank you for speaking up. I'm a TSA agent, and I'm ashamed of what you documented. We need reform. That last one especially hit Ryan. Even TSA agents knew the system was broken. No, Ryan told Aisha, we're not taking it down because if I, with all my white privilege, can't speak up, who can? 3 months after uploading the video, Ryan sat in a Senate hearing room. Cameras everywhere, C-SPAN streaming live. Senator Rodriguez opened. Mr. Cooper, thank you for appearing today. Your video has sparked a national conversation about TSA screening practices. Please share your experience. Ryan had prepared remarks, but he decided to speak from the heart. Senators, I'm a software developer. I analyze data for a living, so when I got, quote, randomly, unquote, selected for additional screening 5 times in a row, I started documenting. Not because I'm paranoid, but because I understand probability. He pulled up his spreadsheet on the presentation screen. 45 flights, 45 screenings. According to TSA's own numbers, the probability of this happening randomly is 0.00000000003%. That's essentially impossible. He let that sink in. I'm not special. I'm not a threat. I'm just visibly Muslim. And that's enough to trigger 100% screening rate. Senator James Harrison, known for strong security positions, interrupted. Mr. Cooper, isn't some level of profiling necessary for security? 90% of terrorist threats come from individuals claiming Islamic motivation. Ryan was ready for this. Senator, with respect, profiling doesn't make us safer.
It makes us feel safer while missing actual threats. The TSA's own studies show that behavioral indicators are far more reliable than religious appearance. He clicked to another slide. Besides, I'm a white guy from Texas. If I wanted to cause harm, I could shave my beard and remove my kufi. Profiling based on religious appearance is security theater, not actual security. Senator Rodriguez leaned forward. Mr. Cooper, you said in your video that you have, quote, white privilege, unquote, even while being profiled. Can you elaborate? Absolutely. I get profiled, but I don't get beaten. I get extra screening, but I don't get arrested. I get inconvenienced, but I don't fear for my life. My brown and black Muslim friends face much worse. I'm using my visibility and my privilege to expose a system that hurts them more than it hurts me. The hearing room was silent. If TSA is profiling me, a white guy with an American accent, imagine what they're doing to people who look more Muslim to them. People with Arabic names, people with accents, people who can't code switch like I can.
Ryan's voice strengthened. I'm not here asking for special treatment. I'm asking for equal treatment. I'm asking TSA to judge passengers by behavior, not appearance. I'm asking America to understand that Muslims come in all colors, including white guys from Texas, and none of us should be treated like criminals for practicing our faith. Senator Rodriguez asked, "What specific reforms would you recommend?" Ryan had prepared this answer carefully. 3 things. First, eliminate religious appearance from screening criteria. Second, implement algorithmic audits to detect profiling patterns. Third, mandatory bias training for all TSA personnel. Additionally, he continued, TSA should publicly release screening data by religious and racial demographics. Transparency is the only way to ensure accountability. The hearing lasted 3 hours. Ryan answered questions from both parties, some supportive, some hostile, all important. As he left the Senate building, reporters swarmed. Ryan gave a brief statement. I hope today starts a conversation about how we balance security with civil rights. I hope TSA takes these recommendations seriously, and I hope other Muslims, especially those with less privilege than me, feel empowered to document their experiences too. 2 weeks after the Senate hearing, the TSA administrator held a press conference. After reviewing Mr. Cooper's documentation and conducting our own internal audit, we've identified concerning patterns in our screening practices. While not intentional profiling, we acknowledge that unconscious bias has affected screening decisions. The admission was huge. TSA was essentially confirming Ryan's claims. Effective immediately, we're implementing the following changes. 1. All TSA officers will complete updated bias awareness training within 90 days. 2. We're deploying algorithmic monitoring to detect statistically significant screening patterns. 3. Officers who demonstrate pattern-based profiling will face retraining or dismissal. 4. We're establishing a passenger feedback system specifically for discrimination complaints. 5. We'll publish annual demographic data on screening rates. The reforms weren't perfect. Civil rights groups wanted more, but it was a start. Ryan's response on Twitter, TSA's announcement is progress, but words mean nothing without follow-through. I'll keep flying, keep documenting, keep holding them accountable. #TSA reform. Flight 58, DFW to Denver. Ryan approached security with his phone ready to document screening number 58. He waited for the random screening announcement. It didn't come. He went through the standard metal detector, grabbed his bag from the X-ray. No additional screening. He walked to his gate, confused. First time in 58 flights, he hadn't been pulled aside. Coincidence? Or had the reforms actually changed something? Flight 59, Denver to San Francisco. No additional screening. Flight 60, San Francisco to Seattle. No additional screening. 3 flights, 3 times through security without profiling. Ryan started tracking the opposite metric, flights without additional screening. Over the next 6 months, he flew 32 more times. He was selected for additional screening 6 times, a 19% rate, still higher than the claimed 1 to 3% random rate, but dramatically better than 100%. Other Muslims reported similar changes. Not perfect, not universal, but noticeable. The reforms were working, slowly, incompletely, but working. Ryan's video had been viewed 8.7 million times. It became required viewing in civil rights courses at 30 dozen universities. The Flying Well Muslim hashtag he'd used spawned a movement. Hundreds of Muslims documented their experiences. The collective data was undeniable. Systematic profiling existed. The Department of Homeland Security commissioned a comprehensive study on religious profiling at airports. The results released to Congress confirmed widespread bias. 17 airports implemented pilot programs for bias-free screening protocols. Early data showed bias complaints dropped 61%, while security effectiveness remained constant. Ryan became an unexpected advocate. He spoke at conferences, wrote articles, consulted with civil rights organizations, all while maintaining his day job as a software developer. He said in an interview, "I didn't set out to be an activist. I just got tired of being late for flights. But when you document injustice and people listen, you have a responsibility to keep speaking."
His work inspired other documented approaches to discrimination. The Cooper method, meticulously documenting bias with data, was used in cases involving housing discrimination, employment bias, and police profiling. The ACLU recognized him with their Civil Liberties Award. Ryan donated the cash prize to an organization providing legal aid to Muslim travelers facing discrimination. "I don't need awards," he said at the ceremony. "I need TSA to treat Muslims like human beings." 3 years after uploading his video, Ryan sat in his Dallas home office, preparing for a TSA training session. Yes, TSA had hired him as a consultant to help develop their bias recognition curriculum. The irony wasn't lost on him. "The organization that profiled me now pays me to teach them how not to profile," he told Aisha, laughing. "That's what actual progress looks like," she replied. Ryan opened his documentation files. 90 flights since the video went viral. 14 additional screenings, a 15.6% rate, still higher than average, but no longer 100%. He'd recently tested something, flying without his kufi, baseball cap instead. 0 additional screenings in 5 flights. He documented this too. The difference was stark. Muslim appearance equals profiling. Normal appearance equals wave through. But Ryan refused to hide. He went back to wearing his kufi because the point wasn't to avoid profiling by assimilating. The point was to end profiling by changing the system. "Dad, why do you wear that hat to the airport?" His son Yusuf, age 4, asked one morning. "Because I'm Muslim, buddy, and Muslims shouldn't have to hide." "Do they treat you mean at the airport?" Ryan thought about how to explain systematic discrimination to a 4-year-old. "Sometimes, but less than they used to because people like me spoke up, and people listened, and things got a little better." "Will they treat me mean when I'm big?" "Maybe, hopefully less. But if they do, you'll document it, speak up, and make it better for the next person. That's how change works." Yusuf nodded seriously. "Like you did with the video." "Exactly like I did with the video." 5 years after, random screening every time went viral. The impact was measurable. TSA discrimination complaints down 47% nationally.
87 airports adopted enhanced bias monitoring. Federal guidelines on religious appearance profiling, the Cooper Guidelines. $8.7 million in settlements to Muslim travelers who documented discrimination. 127 TSA officers terminated for pattern-based profiling. But the cultural shift was even more significant. Muslim travelers increasingly documented their experiences. The collective data pressure forced accountability. Airports knew that every discriminatory act could become the next viral video. Ryan's approach, calm documentation, data analysis, and strategic sharing, became a model for exposing systematic bias in other contexts. Police interactions, job interviews, housing applications. All areas where marginalized people faced discrimination began using video documentation and pattern analysis. The Cooper method was taught in civil rights workshops. Document, analyze, share, force accountability through irrefutable evidence. Ryan wrote a book, Flying While Muslim: How Documentation Defeated Discrimination. It became required reading in criminal justice and civil rights programs. But his favorite moment came at a conference where a young Pakistani-American woman approached him. "Mr. Cooper, I'm in law school because of your video. I watched you use data to prove discrimination, and I realized that's what I want to do, use evidence to fight injustice." Call me Ryan, and thank you. That's exactly why I shared the video, to show people they can fight back with documentation. Can I ask you something? Do you ever regret converting? Given everything you faced? Ryan smiled. Never. Islam gave me purpose. The profiling gave me a mission, and the mission gave thousands of Muslims a little more dignity when they fly. That's worth every additional screening. A decade after Ryan's video, flying while visibly Muslim was still harder than flying while not, but it was measurably better.
The percentage of Muslim travelers reporting discrimination had dropped from 73% to 31%. Still too high, but progress. Ryan, now 43, still flew regularly for work. He still wore his kufi. He still documented every additional screening, though they were now rare enough that each one was noteworthy. His documentation project had become a nonprofit, the Religious Freedom in Transit Foundation. They tracked discrimination data, provided legal support to profiled travelers, and lobbied for stronger anti-discrimination policies. Yusuf, now 14, wore his kufi proudly. He'd been pulled aside for additional screening twice in his life. Both times, Ryan had documented it and filed complaints. Both times, the TSA agents involved faced retraining. "Dad," Yusuf asked during a family flight to visit relatives, "did you ever think your video would change this much?" Ryan watched Yusuf walk through security without incident. No additional screening, no profiling. Just a teenager traveling to see grandparents. "No," Ryan admitted. "I thought maybe it'd go viral, maybe start a conversation. I didn't think it would actually change federal policy." "What made the difference?" "Evidence," Ryan said. "I didn't just complain. I proved it with data they couldn't deny. 45 flights, 45 screenings. That number was too obvious to ignore." Aisha added, "And your privilege helped. A white guy saying this is discrimination got attention in ways a brown Muslim saying the same thing wouldn't have. That's not fair, but it's true." "Which is why we use that privilege," Ryan said, "to expose injustice, to amplify marginalized voices, to document what others face, to create space for change." Ryan's story wasn't about one man defeating discrimination. It was about one man documenting discrimination so thoroughly that the system couldn't ignore it anymore. He didn't have institutional power. He didn't have political connections. He didn't have wealth. He had a phone, a spreadsheet, and the willingness to document injustice every single time he experienced it. 45 flights, 45 screenings, 1 viral video, federal policy change. That's the power of documentation. That's the power of persistence. That's the power of refusing to accept that this is just how it is. Ryan's message to other Muslims facing discrimination: document everything. Date, time, location, witnesses. Build your case like you're going to court because you might. Share your documentation. Force the system to see the pattern. One incident is an anomaly. 45 incidents is proof. The lesson extended beyond airports, beyond Muslims, beyond any single form of discrimination. Systematic bias requires systematic documentation. Individual complaints get dismissed. Patterns demand response. Ryan Cooper, a white Muslim software developer from Texas, proved that with enough evidence, even the TSA could be forced to change. Not perfectly, not completely, but measurably, meaningfully, permanently. 10 years, 450 flights, 67 additional screenings, 15% rate down from 100%. That's progress you can measure. Have you faced discrimination while traveling, at work, in housing, in public spaces? Document it. Date, time, witnesses, details. One incident is your word against theirs. A pattern is proof. Ryan's lesson: privilege is a tool. Use it to expose injustice. Use it to amplify marginalized voices. Use it to force accountability. Share this if you believe documentation defeats discrimination. Subscribe for more stories of strategic activism and systematic change.